Haha. She's 3, so she doesn't know any better. This is so crazy what's going on. This is our local news, so I'm broadcasting it to the world so they can see what we see.
We're in a waiting mode.
Yes, we are. Okay. Rich Thompson, the National Weather Service, can you hear us this morning?
Yes, I can. How you doing?
We're okay, but we're watching with interest what's going on here. We have a live shot of Avila Beach. We've been talking with a photographer that we have in Morro Bay. We've been talking with rangers in Pismo Beach. Can you tell us how we've fared in our Central Coast area compared to the rest of the coast of California?
Okay, so far what we've observed here at Port San Luis, for example, which is an area we're expected to get the most activity, I guess, in the tsunami. Currently, we see a tsunami surge approaching 5 feet right now at the tide gauge, so it actually is coming in pretty good.
Yeah, so it's pretty close. I mean, originally the estimate was 7.1 feet. The first time the surge came in, and we were watching it live from Avila, which of course is right next to Port San Luis. It was, certainly not that big, but then as it's gone on this morning, it's gotten bigger and bigger. Are we going to continue to see that, or when can we expect that tide to change, so to say? Excuse the pause, but when will we start to see these slowing down, these changes in the surf?
That soon. With tsunamis like this, you'll see the initial wave comes in, and then the waves after the initial one are actually usually higher. So eventually that'll probably continue, increasing through the morning hours, and hopefully sometime this afternoon you'll start seeing gradually decreasing as the waves come in.
And
Okay,
this
so can we
afternoon
expect
they're
to see it much
decreasing?
higher
Oh,
than it is
wow.
right now, or do you think that this is probably the brunt of it so far?
Potentially you see another foot or two, where they're forecasting like 7 feet for Port San Luis. I still think that's very possible for later this morning. It's very possible.
What is our activity like compared to the other ports that you're monitoring?
Obviously, Port San Luis is pretty much the highest report we're seeing up and down the central and southern California coast.
It looks like the water returned to normal for a bit.
About 2 to 3 feet of a surge from tsunami so far, but Port San Luis is by far the winner.
Do you have any?
Yeah, Port San Luis. I would love to see some images from that, but they won't. They're not allowed in there. It's been blocked off and evacuated. Schools have been closed down.
Directly to Port San Luis, but I would not be surprised if we're seeing some damage out.
Yeah, there's definitely damage in Santa Cruz, which is about, I don't know how far away.
Around 3.5 to 4 feet, so I would not be surprised if actually there's some damage occurring out in that area.
There's definitely a lot of damage in Morro Bay. We can see the dredge, which is where they take out the sand. I totally had it wrong earlier. They take out the sand.
And hopefully sometime this evening it'll be downgraded, but I'd say it's probably in effect through most of the afternoon hours.
Yeah.
And since we are in the middle of this evacuation order right now and tsunami warning, what advice do you have for the folks in the coastal areas or people who have boats docked at our local harbors?
Yeah, it's poor people.
I think people have boats docked at local harbors. I mean, it's just hopefully they're more down strongly so the boats don't break off and drift away, but not much else they can do other than that. And other residents living near the coast, I mean, just listen to your local law officials. They want you to evacuate or suggest you evacuate. I say, follow their orders.
And we've been reporting that a lot of the boat owners in Morro Bay and noticing that there are fewer boats in our Port San Luis harbor, choosing to ride it out in the ocean. Would that have been your advice before the warning went into effect?
No, I would not personally have ridden out anything in a boat, especially in Port San Luis Harbor. I think that'd be much too rough as the tsunami waves came in, but that's just my personal preference, I guess.
All right, and also, as far as I know, we've asked this, and you've told us that this afternoon, as far as the warning is concerned, but so that we can reassure residents, do you think that there's a time that we can say that danger has passed? We haven't seen a lot of damage as far as the land is concerned. Any damage that we've seen has been out on the water with boats. Is that going to be the extent of it at this point in time?
I think
the water's back to normal for right now. It's a little bit further out than usual.
Get some damage near shore along the coast. But I think the majority of what you're going to see is damage to the boats and the harbors and the docks and things like that.
All right. Well, Rich Thompson, thank you very much
I
for
hope everybody's
spending some time
okay
with us.
and over there.
National Weather Service, we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. We want to, if we can, show you some of that video from Japan, where all of this is starting from after an 8.9 magnitude earthquake struck overnight. Take a look at this video. That is
all those
absolutely
monitors, all that
terrifying
poor
what
woman.
these people must have gone through, and what triggered the tsunami was an 8.9 earthquake, and then what followed was a 23-foot tsunami wave that what probably did most of the damage following that earthquake.
Nice.
Police are saying that 200 to 300 bodies have been found, and most of that is because of the tsunami. A dam has broken, washing away homes. A Coast Guard is searching for ships carrying at least 80 people. 90 fires have started because of the earthquake and the tsunami. There's a train that with an unknown number of passengers now missing. Japanese Prime Minister citing major damage. 4 million people are now without power in Tokyo. We were talking to a woman whose son lives in Japan, saying that he got caught almost in an elevator overnight when that power went out. He was able to get out, but still had to sleep in his office overnight because power's out. A lot of the commuters rely on the trains. Those are down. And so he's stuck at work. Thankfully, though,
That the Central Coast person is stuck in Japan.
We have Ron on the phone with us from the San Luis Obispo County Emergency Services again. And Ron, we knew that you were on a conference call beginning about 9:30 this morning. Can you tell us what came out of that conference call?
Yes, we're in a conference call with the state, the California Emergency Management Agency,
Yeah,
and our
people at
sister
Apple
coastal
Beach
counties,
just chilling.
and they, in turn, are in contact with the Tsunami Warning Center. And Tsunami Warning Center and other folks are saying
man,
that
I bet all the paramedics are on
potential for damaging surges.
triage
So they're
alert.
keeping the warning. The Tsunami Warning Center is keeping the actual tsunami warning in effect. And we're going to reassess here again locally at noon.
The weird thing is,
that,
I was just there last weekend, having a picnic with my family.
And we'll continue to monitor the situation until we get a downgrade from the Tsunami Warning Center.
All right. And can you tell us about any damage that you've seen come in? We've been monitoring Avila Beach. We
Yeah, the water's really kind of far out again.
And talked to a resident of Morro Bay, and they said at least one boat they saw torn from the moorings in Morro Bay has been damaged. Have you got any other reports of damage into the County Office of Emergency Services?
No, we do have that report that what happened to Morro Bay was an actual, from my understanding, it's about 5-foot level moving, and indeed there are toxic boats around in there. But that's the only report of any potential damage that we have locally. Now we know, as you reported earlier, we do have confirmation on Santa Cruz had damage, and then maybe to no surprise, Del Norte way up north, they actually had they've had 35 boats damaged, and one of their harbors they say is destroyed. So 35 boats destroyed, that is. So up north and moving south, it seems the damage is less and less, but we're not out of the woods yet.
So now you said that the warning would stay in effect and you'd reassess at noon. But as far as the evacuation orders, because we haven't seen it approaching the shoreline as of yet, is there a point in time where we can say that the danger itself is over and folks can feel safe returning at least a little closer to the beach?
Well, we asked the same question of the tsunami experts during the conference call, and their answer is no, really. We could have surges that are more damaging than we've seen so far. In fact, Del Norte County actually has a concern that the next surges is going to overtop their harbor and actually cause some more damages. So we're not. There's no period where they say, well, next 2 hours we're going to be 50% less chance or something like that. We'll just have to wait. The only thing that we could get them to say, and again, this is as of about 9:45 on our conference call this morning, is that naturally over the course of 8 to 10 hours it will diminish. But as far as immediate coming hours, they would not say that the damage or the threats.
This is more images of Japan.
With a man from the Weather Service, and he was saying that most likely, if we do see damage, we've already seen some out at Morro Bay, that it will be pretty much along the harbor.
So scary. I'm so glad we didn't get the 20-foot swell or surge or whatever you call it
or do you think
here.
that maybe we're not
I think
quite there to
the most we're gonna have is the 7-foot one, and that's over in Port Slow. But we haven't had any images of it because it's blocked off, it's closed, and evacuated.
That it would be more like harbor damage. And in fact, during the conference call, when other counties and us were asking questions, and that question about when is the threat going to lessen, somebody asked made the statement that Northern California has the highest threat, and they said Northern California,
San Luis Obispo, and Santa Cruz have some danger.
Okay.
So they still
Yes.
specifically
San Luis
pointed
Obispo
us out,
has the
but
most
they, as
things.
I noted
That's 30
earlier,
minutes away.
they actually particularly pointed out initially, and I believe
Port
continue to
Slow
do
is
so,
being
the Port
affected
San Luis area.
a lot.
So I would speculate that indeed that it's probable that the damages would be in harbor-type areas, but again, never say never.
Ron, do you
He
have a
just
number
quoted
of
Justin
how many
Bieber.
people have been
Dear God.
evacuated so far?
No, we don't. We're trying to figure that out just based on the number of reverse 911 calls, but that's hard to do too because not everybody's signed up with reverse 911, which just would be a good opportunity to go to the Sheriff's Department website and do that. So I'd be making a guess right now. We don't have figures yet, but I think you're reporting on the Red Cross that they've opened up their evacuation. Look. Closed one in Cambria. It got some business, so they kept that open as well. And also, I want to report too. We've been, I must say, haven't had time to get out in the news release, but in the South County, the shelter location has been moved to I forget the name of the church. It's the church. It's in Pismo Beach. It's right across from the Ross Dress Burlesque Center right there. It's a church right in the corner in the Pismo Beach and Rio Grande city limits there.
Is that New Life? Is it New Life?
Thank you, New Life Church.
Okay.
And that's been moved from Walmart?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been moved from Walmart over to the New Life Church.
So folks should no longer go to the Walmart Center evacuation site?
Oh.
Correct. That is correct.
Is that because it's full, or is the location just been moved?
They're telling us that
Location's been moved. New Life is much more comfortable.
the location
than
for
having folks go
evacuation
to
has been moved.
The Walmart location.
This is
And
shots
the
from
reason we have, like the Walmart location and
not
locations
live.
like the
Well, sort of.
Energy Education Center.
This is shots from Japan right now, but they've
we
been
wanted people to move quickly, so we didn't want to wait to open shelters and then evacuate people.
Avila
so these
Beach,
were more like
which the
locations,
searches have been crazy.
go here and,
oh my
and we'll try and find a more comfortable, or we will find
scares
a
me
more
every time.
comfortable shelter as soon as possible. So that's what we're doing here, is just moving folks to a more comfortable location.
And it might be hard to gauge just how many people are actually taking advantage of the evacuation sites versus how many people are actually evacuated, because we have to keep in mind it is a school day for the schools that have not been shut down for the day, which are Morro Bay High School and Bellevue. But also, it's a work day. So many people, while under this evacuation order, are working or at school.
Yes, I agree with that. And also, in general, when there's an evacuation, most people go to friends or relatives or someplace else. They do not go to a shelter. So combined with what you just said, that you're right. There's no way that we can tie in the number of people showing up at a shelter with how many people evacuated.
All right. Well, Ron Alsop, thank you very much for spending some more time with us this morning. We'll, of course, continue to check in with Ron and see what happens as they check in again at noon with the other counties and on the conference call with the Tsunami Warning Center. Meantime, Nancy Chen is standing by live, but we're first going to pass along some information about the Japanese nuclear reactor. Now, we want to be perfectly clear about this because, we've been talking about Diablo Canyon. We have our own nuclear power plant here. This has nothing to do with our area. This is in Japan. Japan says that pressure is rising at the nuclear reactor power plant in northeastern Japan after its cooling system failure. State of emergency has been issued in the area where the power plant is located. Apparently, the agency said that radioactive vapor could be released. Right now, it's about 1.5 times the level that's considered normal in the plant. In order to reduce that pressure, they may have to act some radioactive vapor. They have evacuated about 3,000 residents in anticipation of that living near the plant. The government has issued a state of emergency at the power plant in Japan and say that they are scrambling to restore cooling water supply to the plant. There's no prospect for immediate success. So we'll continue to watch that story as it develops as well.
Now, it is a good time to remind folks that we've been talking to Corey Raftery all morning long, and the reason why there is no real concern with the plant itself at a Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant, and that's because the plant 80 feet above sea level. Now, we've been talking about all morning long that the tsunami waves have the potential to reach 7 feet, and I know we were just talking to the man with the Weather Service saying that there are out at Port San Luis recordings of 5-foot surges out at Port San Luis. That's, again, above sea level. Now, when you're talking about Diablo, the plant sits 80 feet above sea level, so the concern there is not with the plant. They are in a state, not a state of emergency, but An unusual event is what they're calling it, an unusual event.